So the World Test Championship final is here, played at the Oval, the London, where India famously won the last time they played here. It was their first win in 50 years at the Oval. So let's look at the road to the final for both teams and what would be the ideal playing combination. So let's start off with the road to the final, and let's start off for Australia, who played 19 matches, won 11, lost 3, and drew 5. And out of those 3 losses, 1 came against Sri Lanka and 2 came against India. Whereas for India, they played 18 games, won 10, lost 5 and drew 3, and they were deducted, I think, 5 points. Yes, 2 for the slow over rate against England in the first test, 1 for the slow over rate against South Africa, and 2 again for slow over rate in fifth test against England. England were deducted a massive 12 points. It's like absolutely crazy. They were deducted 12 points. That's up to like 136 if you don't deduct those points. 136, they played like 22 games or something like that. So their availability was like what? Total 22 games. So 22 into 12 for each game, that will be 264. So out of the 264 available points, they would have gotten 136, and out of those they would have gotten at least, they would have had like a 51%, which would still not match India's 58%. So yeah, there's that. South Africa meanwhile did not have any points deducted, so that's not a thing. So let's straight away go. So the first series of this one was England versus India, so we'll start with India. So yeah, the Patori Trophy, England versus India. England going through an absolute crisis at that moment, and the first game they snuck in a draw. I don't know how the last game literally ended. I seriously don't know how. England escaped with that. In the second game, India won, no problem with that. The third game, India were absolutely dismantled. They were absolutely dismantled, and England won. And then in the fourth game again, at the Oval, India, conceding a 99-run lead, fought back and won the test by 157 runs. India could have won the series literally, but you know what happened there. Then the fifth test got postponed, and then it happened again, this time in Birmingham. And India lost. Baseball proved again. The next series India played was against New Zealand. And in the first game, Rachin Ravindra and Ajaz Patel batted nearly 9 overs to hand New Zealand 4 points, a precious 4 points. Absolutely huge for them. And then in the second test against New Zealand, India absolutely rolled them over, won by 372 runs. Mayank Agarwal scoring 150 and following it up with a 50. And then Australia kick-started their campaign against England, winning the Ashes 4-0. But I think this series did not happen according to Stuart Broad, and England literally lost 8 points in the first game due to slow over rate. Yes, you heard me right, 8 points. The second game as well, Australia steamrolled. Third game also. The fourth game, somehow England managed to drew that one. And the fifth game they won. And then against South Africa, India played. They won the first test very comfortably, and everyone thought that India could actually win the series first time ever in South Africa. But then this happened. Indian batting lineup was not up to the mark. South Africa having a slight lead, still ended up winning in the second game, comfortably chasing 243 on a tough Wanderers pitch. You know about Wanderers. And then in the third game again, Shardul showed up, but it was to no use. South Africa won again 2-1. Keegan Petersen and Dean Elgar stayed them home. And then India invited Sri Lanka to play here, and they won both games by huge margins. Won by an innings in 222 runs, and then won by 238 runs. So you can see for yourself what was there. And then Australia played Pakistan, and they snuck in a win. And you know about the Rawalpindi pitch, the Lahore pitch, and literally every game. I mean, I'm not kidding here. Literally these two games, the Bernard Kadir Trophy, the first game, it was an absolute belter. Pakistan scored 476. Australia replied with 459. And then Pakistan played 77 overs for 252 without a loss for a wicket. And then the second game, Australia bowled out Pakistan for 35, and Australia won by 115 runs. So there's that. And then fast forward to 2022, we have the Vaughan Muralidharan Trophy, where Australia won the first game pretty easily by 10 wickets, and in the second game, Sri Lanka struck back, winning by an innings in 39 runs. So yeah, that ended 1-all. And then you got India going to Bangladesh, and then it was just a matter of easy work, you could say. The first innings, India won. The first game, India won by 188 runs. The second game, though, was a bit tough. Mehdi Hasan running through the Indian top order like it was nothing. India eventually sneaked through thanks to Shreyas and Ashwin with that 71-run partnership. And then the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Australia was steamrolled in the first game. India won by an innings and 132 runs. In the second game, a batting collapse happened because Australia were leading by 1 run. Yes, you heard me right. And then Australia collapsed and India went on to win the game. And yeah, let me tell you, the situation was absolutely terrible because, like Aksa Patel saved India there. So yeah, and then Australia steamrolled India, holding them out for 109 and then collapsing themselves to 197, and then India got bowled out for 163, and they scored 78, and they all look back after that. And then the last game, Australia scored 418, they scored 571, and the match got draw, and each team shared 4 points. The final standings are yet to be announced. So yeah, New Zealand, Pakistan, West Indies and Bangladesh will receive about $100. England will receive $350. Sri Lanka will receive $200,000, and South Africa will receive $450. That's 450,000. The winner of this will get $1.6 million, and the runner-up will get half of that, $800,000. So statistics wise, it was a fantastic fantastic time for Joe Root. He scored about 1,915 runs, almost 2,000 runs in 40 innings, 4 not outs. Look at that average, man, 53. And Usman Khawaja scored 1,608 runs, playing 12 innings less. Yes, 12 innings less, but only 307 runs behind. His average is 69.91. And then you got Babar Azam, 1,500 runs, Labuschagne 1,509, and Nathan Lyon leading the charge. Look at that, 83 wickets. The next competitor is Kagiso Rabada, 16 wickets behind him. Yes, Nathan Lyon has played 10 innings more though. South Africa has only played 13 games. No, I don't think like that. Kagiso Rabada has played 13 games. Ashwin has played 13 games as well. 26 innings. He has taken 61 wickets. And he's given 1,200 runs. So yeah, there's that. So what would be the ideal combination for both the teams? So let's start off with India, their squad. So India's squad is Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, and then you get that, is it Bharath or Ishan Kishan? I think I would play with a specialist keeper, and I'll go with Srikhar Bharath. And you got Ravindra Jadeja, Ravi Chandran Ashwin or Shardul Thakur. There's another point there as well. I think I'll go with Shardul Thakur. And you got Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, and I'll go with Jaydev Unadkat instead of Umesh Yadav. So this is my lineup. I'll tell again: Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, Bharath, Jadeja, Shardul Thakur, Shami, Siraj and Jaydev Unadkat. That left arm, Australia would not be expecting him to play. So that would be my ideal level. The only reason I picked Shardul Thakur over is that because this oval has a green wicket, and Shardul Thakur, you know about Shardul Thakur in Test match cricket, so there's that one point that I would love to make. And then Jaydev Unadkat, he's been such an underrated Indian left arm pacer that it just adds an extra dimension. So I think Australia won't be expecting that as well. So Jaydev Unadkat, with the new ball, he can do things. Even with the old ball, he can do things as well. So that's why I'm going with Jaydev Unadkat instead of Umesh Yadav. And then for Australia, if you come there, David Warner, Usman Khawaja will open. Labuschagne, Steve Smith, Travis Head, Cameron Green, and then Alex Carey, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, only one spinner, Nathan Lyon, and Scott Boland. So that would be my 11. So let me tell it again. David Warner, Usman Khawaja opening. Number 3, Marnus Labuschagne. Number 4, Steve Smith. Number 5, Travis Head. Number 6, Cameron Green. 7, Alex Carey. 8, Pat Cummins. 9, Stark. 10, Nathan Lyon. And 11, Scott Boland. So I think they got like a good batting depth here. And India have their batting depth as well. You know about Mohammad Shami. Siraj is like the only weak link. If they end up playing Jay Wadkar, he can bat a bit as well. So there's that. Going into the squad and weaknesses. So for India, the only weakness is that none of the batsmen are going to play like averaging about like 30. Their highest run getter Pujara is averaging at 32, and the only batsman averaging about like 40 is like Rishabh Pant for them, I think. And the others are like, I think the others is like Akshar Patel. So of course he's not gonna play. So that would be something else. Akshar Patel is not going to play. So, yeah, there's that problem. But this, I think, the past is just something. They've made it here. India have been a bit irregular. They have not been able to, like, pounce on their chances like they should. Australia have been a bit more clinical. Because sweeping the Ashes 4-0, winning against South Africa. South Africa escaped with, like, one lucky game there. Like that one lucky game where it just like drew with them, and Australia ended up I think winning like 2-0 in the 3-match series. They were lucky. Yeah, that's about it. They lost again that one match in Pakistan. Pakistan you cannot tell that much because I thought they would lose one game, but they did win one game. So there's that in Pakistan. So I think Australia have pounced on their chances really well. So that would be a worrying sign for India because India have not pounced on their chances. They were leading 1-0 and they lost to a South African team purely because of their batting dilemma. They were not able to close the series down against England as well. They threw the game away when Somerville for New Zealand, I think he batted like a 20 overs and then took the game away from India. They were not able to get one wicket. And then they almost slipped up against Bangladesh, but eventually they are here. So only weakness for India is that I think none of the players like average about 32. So I think that would be like their only weakness. And Australia have 2 players in their batting lineup in top 5. Steve Smith in there, but you could argue that you can play Ashwin as well. But I think 4 seamers would be the good choice because last time India played in a WTC final, they went in with 2 spinners and it backfired a lot. Even though Ashwin tried to crack open the game, it backfired. Yeah, that move, it like backfired. Or you could have like rested someone like an Ishant Sharma and played Mohammad Siraj because Ishant. Okay, let's not talk about that. So that would be my ideal playing 11 for both India and Australia. If you ask me, I think Australia will have the edge because the oval pitch, as per the reports and the pitch doctor, he has said that there would be a lot of pounds. So pounds would be favouring Australia. If it's a dry wicket, I think you could play 2 spinners maybe. That's the only case where Australia could get caught up. If it's a dry wicket and the ball starts to spin, I think Jadeja will run through them easily. You saw how they folded against India in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So I think if it's a dry wicket and it's a bouncy wicket, I think India will play with 2 spinners. But I don't think it will be a dry wicket. But there's a lot of bounce on offer that Australia would like that because, Australian home conditions, there would be a lot of bounce. So that's it for today's video, and let me know down below who do you think will win the World Test Championship.